Harley didn't end victory. Polaris did, and they ended a brand arguably better engineered than the bikes it was built to beat. Pikes Peak wins, land speed records, some of the smoothest V-twins ever built. Gone in January 2017, the used market never forgave it. Prices collapsed, and today you can buy a victory for a fraction of a comparable Harley's cost. 12 of them, counting down right now, starting with the cheapest way in. At number 12, Victory V92C, this is where the whole victory story begins. Built from 1999 through 2003, the V92C was Polaris's very first swing at the cruiser market, and it shows in both good ways and bad ways. Right now, these are trading for $2,500 to $4,000, which undercuts a comparable late 90s or early 2000s Harley Heritage Softail Classic, sitting at $5,000 to $7,000 by nearly half. What it does well is torque. Massive, tractor-like, low-end torque paired with a genuinely rigid frame that refuses to flex through curves the way older Harley chassis sometimes do. This bike feels planted. It runs a 92 cubic inch, that's roughly 1,500 cubic centimeters. Air and oil-cooled Freedom V twin, one of the very first fuel-injected cruiser engines on the American market at the time, which was genuinely ahead of Milwaukee's carbureted lineup in 1999. Here is your buying check, and it is not optional. Test ride it and shift hard through third and fourth gear under load. Early 1999 through 2001 models had weak shift forks and no cushion drive, which means they can pop out of gear suddenly or sound like a bag of loose coins in the transmission. If you hear that, walk away. If it shifts clean, you have found the cheapest entry point into victory ownership on this entire list. And that raises a question. Does it stay that cheap as the bikes get newer, or does the price start climbing fast? All right, before we push further down this list, if you are the kind of rider who actually appreciates a brand that got cut off for no good mechanical reason, hit subscribe right now. We dig up channels like this one every single week, and you do not want to miss the next orphan brand we cover. Posing perfectly at number 11, Victory Highball. Built from 2012 through 2017, the Highball is Victory's stripped-down bobber, and it is currently priced at $5,000 to $6,500. Compare that to a Harley Street Bob or a Softail Crossbones from the same era, which will run you $8,500 to $12,000, and the Highball starts looking like serious value for old-school attitude. The strength here is pure visual theater. Adjustable ape hanger bars straight from the factory, white wall tires, and a stripped silhouette that makes it look like it rolled out of 1950-something rather than 2012. Underneath the retro look sits the same 106 cubic inch Freedom V twin, found across most of this list, a genuinely overbuilt engine platform that Victory reused and refined for over a decade instead of constantly redesigning it from scratch. But those ape hangers come with a cost, and it is your buying check. Inspect the throttle and clutch cables right where they bend, near those tall bars. That radical angle chews through cables faster than normal, causing fraying and sticky throttle return. Cheap fix, but only if you catch it before it strands you somewhere inconvenient. Speaking of bikes that trade style for a very specific mechanical headache, our next entry does the opposite. It is built for muscle, and the headache lives somewhere else entirely. But hang on a second. Are you the kind of rider that loves a good deal? Imagine standing in front of a bike you want, the seller swearing it's perfect. That's where riders overpay by thousands on a $10,000 bike. Our buyer's kit tells you what it's really worth, your fair price, and when to walk away. A wrong bike costs thousands. This kit, just $49. The easiest money you'll ever save. Scan the QR on the right or tap the link in the description. Let's get that bike you've always wanted for even cheaper. At number 10, Victory Judge. The Judge ran from 2013 to 2015, a short production window that already makes it a bit of an oddball, and it sells today for $5,000 to $6,500. It goes toe-to-toe with a Sportster 1200 Custom or a Dyna Fat Bob, both sitting at $6,500 to $9,500 used, and the Judge simply has more passing power in the mid-range to back it up. The mid-mount foot controls are the whole personality of this bike. American muscle car styling, an aggressive sporty riding position, genuinely fun to throw around town. It shares its bones with the Gunner, but trades the bobber stance for a more forward, sportier ergonomic package, which makes it one of the few victories that actually invites you to lean in and carve a corner rather than just cruise through it. Your buying check is the shift linkage. Make sure it moves smoothly with zero binding. Those exposed linkage arms sit low and close to the road, so they pick up grime easily and bend if the bike has ever tipped over in a driveway, even a slow, embarrassing, low-speed tip over. A bent linkage is cheap to fix but tells you the bike has a history, and that history matters more on our next pick, because this one runs on water instead of just air. Revving recklessly at number 9, Victory Octane. The Octane only existed for one single model year, 2017, right as Polaris was shutting the whole brand down, which makes it a genuine one-year-only oddity in Victory's lineup. Used prices sit at $4,000 to $6,000, going up against a liquid-cooled Harley night rod or street rod at $6,500 to $9,000. And the Octane wins on both quicker revving and a noticeably lighter curb weight. What makes it different from every other bike on this list is the 60-degree V-twin, liquid-cooled 1,179 cubic centimeters, DOHC engine built to rev and lean into corners rather than just lope down a highway, producing roughly 104 horsepower from the factory. It also borrowed heavily from Victory's Project 156 Pikes Peak hill climb program and the Project 120 drag racing prototypes, while sharing architecture with the Indian Scout platform, so the bones underneath this bike have more racing pedigree than almost anything else on this list. Because it was the first and only liquid-cooled Victory, your buying check matters a lot here. Find one with clean cooling lines and you have got the sportiest bike on this whole list. That's the only liquid-cooled Victory ever made. What's coming up is the only one built purely for muscle, and it fights you in ways you won't expect. Flexing shamelessly at number 8, Victory Hammer and Hammer S, built across a long run from 2005 through 2017. The Hammer and Hammer S are the muscle bikes of the Victory lineup, and they currently go for $5,000 to $7,000. That is a serious discount against a Harley Night Train or a Breakout, which run $10,500 to $16,000, and the Hammer even beats them on spec sheet by including dual front disc brakes, which Harley skipped on plenty of base trims. The party trick is that massive 9.8-inch rear tire, giving you straight-line traction that looks and feels genuinely intimidating. But that fat rear tire fights the front end in parking lots. And here is your buying check. Ask the owner directly whether the front tire has been intentionally downsized, something like a 5.1-inch front, to stop the bike from falling into slow turns. If nobody has addressed that, low-speed maneuvering is going to feel like wrestling a stubborn animal, and that is a very different kind of workout than what our next bike gives you. Punching above at number 7, Victory Gunner. The Gunner had an even shorter run than the Judge, just 2015 through 2017, and it sells now for $5,500 to $7,500. It is aimed straight at the Softail Slim or the Street Bob, both priced at $9,000 to $13,000, and the Gunner undercuts both while packing a bigger standard engine than either. The magic here is weight. This is a genuinely lightweight bobber chassis wrapped around the full 106 cubic inch Freedom V-twin, which means stoplight to stoplight acceleration that performs well above its price tag. Your buying check lives under the seat. Look closely at the rear shock adjustment threads. Owners routinely forget to adjust that single shock for passenger weight, which strips the threads or blows oil seals when the shock bottoms out repeatedly. Small part, annoying repair, and completely avoidable if the previous owner actually read the manual, which, let's be honest, most people do not. That shock problem is a $50 fix. What's coming up next has a $500 problem hiding in the dashboard. Cruising comfortably at number 6, Victory Magnum. The Magnum ran from 2015 through 2017 as Victory's full-dress touring flagship, and today it sits at roughly $6,000 to $9,000, depending on mileage and condition. Set that against a Harley Ultra Limited or Road Glide Ultra, both comfortably north of $13,000 used, and the Magnum is offering full touring comfort, hard bags, and a fairing for a genuine fraction of the price. What it does well is long-haul comfort, big windscreen, generous saddlebag capacity, and a chassis tuned for stability rather than nimbleness, which is exactly what you want at 75 miles an hour on an interstate for 6 hours straight. Your buying check is the audio and infotainment system, if the bike has one. These touring electronics were never Victory's strong suit, and connectors corrode, speakers crackle, and replacement head units are getting harder to source every single year. Which brings us to something we need to talk about honestly before we go any further. Here is the deal, and we are not going to sugarcoat it. Polaris did commit to keeping parts flowing for existing Victory owners, and a lot of Victory components share DNA with Indian Motorcycle, which is still alive and well under the same parent company. Engines, transmissions, and plenty of chassis hardware overlap enough that a good independent shop can usually keep one of these running for years without a fight. That helps, but some parts, especially the smaller stuff like specific electronics, unique trim pieces, touring fairings, and infotainment components, are getting genuinely harder to find every year, and a few are already showing up as discontinued on official parts lookups. Independent Victory specialists exist and they are good, but your local Harley dealer will not touch this bike, and even some general motorcycle shops will wave you off outright. Buying a Victory today means accepting that you are your own parts detective and that you will probably end up on a forum at some point hunting down a used switch housing. If that sounds like too much work, this is not the list for you. That infotainment issue is a minor annoyance, but number 5 is where things get interesting. Prepare to meet a bike with one of the longest production runs Victory ever had, and an electrical gremlin hiding in a spot most buyers never think to check. Aging gracefully at number 5, Victory Vegas. The Vegas had one of the longest production runs in Victory's history, 2003 through 2017, and used prices land at $4,000 to $6,000. Compare that to a Harley Softail Standard or 𝗕𝗨𝗬𝗘𝗥𝗧 at $6,500 to $9,500, and the Vegas is saving you thousands while sitting on a noticeably stiffer chassis. The strength is styling combined with usability, factory custom looks, an incredibly low seat height, and neutral, balanced handling that makes it approachable for riders who are not looking to wrestle a bike every time they park. Your buying check is electrical. Inspect the wiring loom exactly where it routes near the steering neck. Factory zip ties hold it tight against that area, and over the years, the insulation chafes through, causing intermittent stalling or blown fuses whenever you turn the handlebars. This is a well-documented wear point across the whole Freedom Engine steel frame lineup, so it is worth checking on the Highball and Gunner too, not just the Vegas. Cheap fix if caught early, maddening diagnostic nightmare if ignored, and that is a pattern you are going to see again on the next bike. Tracking truly at number 4, Victory Kingpin. Produced from 2004 through 2012, the Kingpin currently sells for $4,000 to $5,500. That lines up against a Harley Road King at $7,000 to $10,000, and the Kingpin actually offers better stock floorboard, lean angles for noticeably less money. What it does well is highway composure, smooth, stable tracking at speed, thanks to heavy-duty inverted front forks that keep the front end planted even when the pavement gets rough. Your buying check is the rear swing arm. Grab it and shake it laterally, checking for play in the pivot bearings. The Kingpin's wider stance puts extra stress right there, and worn bearings require pressing the whole assembly out for replacement, which is not a driveway job. Find one with a tight swing arm and you have got one of the most comfortable highway cruisers on this entire list. A loose swing arm is a garage job. What's coming next needs a hand pump just to find out if it's broken. But first, if you'd love to save more money while choosing the right bike, I've got what you need. Picture it, you buy the bike. It looked clean. It sounded great. 3 weeks later, the bills start. A worn chain, tired forks, a service the seller never mentioned. That's thousands gone on a bike you already paid full price for. Our inspection checklist catches every one of those before you pay, walking the bike like a mechanic. Spend $49 now or lose thousands later. Scan the QR on the right or tap the link in the description. Don't let a hidden problem drain your wallet. Now let's get into the next motorcycle on our list. Outlasting others at number 3, Victory Crossroads. Built from 2010 through 2014, the Crossroads is currently priced at $4,500 to $6,500. It functions almost like a mechanical twin to the Harley Road King, which sells for $8,000 to $11,500, except the Crossroads throws in a significantly plusher rear air-adjustable suspension setup that Harley simply does not match at this price. The real strength is versatility. Pop the windshield and soft bags off in a few minutes, and you have converted a cross-country tourer into a clean, stripped-down cruiser, which is a party trick most bikes on this list cannot pull off. Your buying check involves a hand pump. Connect it to the rear suspension air valve, usually tucked under the side cover, and check whether the shock holds pressure over roughly an hour. Leaking seals are common on these, and when they fail, the bike rides harsh. Slamming into its own bump stops over every pothole. Fix that seal, and you have got one of the most comfortable, most flexible bikes in the entire Victory catalog. That suspension trick is clever, but the next bike solves the exact same problem in a completely different and more dangerous way. Hauling heavily at number 2, Victory Cross Country. The Cross Country ran from 2010 through 2017 and now trades for $6,000 to $9,000. That goes head-to-head with the Harley Street Glide, which commands $11,000 to $16,000 used, meaning the Cross Country delivers roughly double the saddlebag storage space for close to half the money. The strength here is the frame. It is cast aluminum rather than tube steel, which gives it genuinely rock-solid stability at high speed and eliminates the notorious bagger wobble that plagues older tube-frame touring bikes when you get up over 80 miles an hour. Your buying check is cruise control, and it is worth taking seriously on a bike you plan to actually tour on. Test it on a straight stretch of road. The micro switches inside the hand controls and near the clutch lever are prone to dirt and corrosion, which causes the system to drop speed abruptly or refuse to engage at all. Annoying on a short ride, genuinely risky if you are trusting it on a 6-hour interstate haul. That cruise control issue is minor at low speeds. Wait until you hear what's wrong with the touring flagship at number 1. Touring triumphantly at number 1, Victory Vision. And here it is, the deepest touring machine Victory ever built, produced from 2008 through 2017, and currently selling for $5,000 to $7,500. That is a direct challenge to the Harley Electra Glide, or Ultra Limited, both sitting at $11,000 to $17,000, which means the Vision offers roughly the same touring mission for less than half the price. The strength is comfort, full stop. Standard floorboards, wrap-around bodywork that genuinely cuts wind, and an electronically adjustable windshield that lets you dial in protection on the fly. Long-distance riders who have owned one tend to defend it fiercely, and it is worth noting the Vision's styling was genuinely polarizing when new, which is exactly why it depreciated so hard and why it is sitting this cheap today. Your buying check is the fuel pump, and it is a good one. The Vision runs dual fuel tanks mounted forward and low, with the fuel pump sitting under the right side body paneling near the side covers and floorboard frame area. Turn the key to ignition without starting the engine, and listen closely near that right side panel. You should hear a smooth, brief hum as the pump primes. If instead you hear a loud screech or a buzz, the internal regulator is clogged and failing, and replacing it means pulling extensive body panels, which is not a cheap or quick fix. Confirm that hum before you hand over a single dollar, because everything else about this bike is genuinely excellent. 12 bikes, all built by a brand that Polaris cut off for reasons that had nothing to do with how well these motorcycles were engineered. The used market punished them anyway, and that punishment is your opportunity as long as you go in with your eyes open about parts, about service, and about doing a little extra homework that Harley owners simply do not have to do. Click on the next video to continue the ride. Never buy the wrong bike again? Get your guide right now and subscribe to our channel.